Okay. Let me know how we looking. Let me know how we looking. Let me know. I think I know what happened. I think I know exactly what happened. And I'm going to stand on it because you can hear me. You can see me. There's no interruption. Because what did I turn around and do? I took the word Trump out of the title. Right? In the caption, it said Tekashi, Taxstone, TroyAve, and Trump, right? New York trolls paying the tolls, right? And that's the segment that I've started with. That's what I want to have a conversation. This conversation will go to Anchor, and it will go to Spotify, and it will go around the world. It will go to Apple Music. It will forever be in the cloud. I will get paid for this conversation that we're about to have. And it's simply an observation that I was able to make. A high level observation, might I add. Do you happen to have the Grey Poupon? No, but I do have the Go Water. Yes. And I do have the honey from KT, the Arch Degree. That is what I do have. Yes, indeed. Shall I continue? Yes, you may. Don't mind me. You know what I'm talking about? But that's what's happening. They went ahead and they censored me once again, right? This is a social experiment that I happen to be showing a lot of people in real time. They went ahead and censored me. They did everything in their power. I tried to go live 4 times. It was glitching. It was silence. That you couldn't even hear me. It was saying interruption, poor connectivity. And I'm like, yo, the Wi-Fi was kicking 2 minutes ago. How, Sway? But here we are. So what's going on in the culture right now? What's going on outside? What is it that we see taking place? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I would want to do a shout out to all of my astrologers, first and foremost, the brothers and sisters. By the way, BTW, I got a podcast we're filming a podcast, Build and Destroy, which is on Spotify video, not audio only. Video. Spotify is going to be the new YouTube for podcasts. So we're not on YouTube. Build and Destroy, which is a new podcast featuring Blue Pill, Red Pill, a brother by the name of Malik Deshawn, and a brother by the name of Tariq Bey. Go and check that out. We are on we are on one on that podcast. We up to episode 2. Every episode has been a classic, right? So I'm going to film later on. Matter of fact, in 30 minutes I gotta leave. So we're gonna be talking about a lot of things today, right? But what I want to talk about is what I peeped last night, right? I'm working on a lecture. Matter of fact, I have a lecture tonight. Patreon only lecture tonight. Real quick, let me show you the flyer. You feel me? Let me show you this flyer briefly before we begin our conversation. Okay? This is what we got going on for Patreons only. Why Patreons only? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you why. I get cash apps every day, right? People just randomly send me cash apps. Like I wake up to cash apps. It's almost like, it's almost like on a good day, it could be like this. Hold on, let me take this flyer down real quick. On a good day, it could be like this. You know what I'm talking about? I could wake up and my cash app is like that. You fuck around and do a great YouTube show and you know what I mean? You give the people value and whatnot. The next morning, you wake up and it looked like Jay Morant was in the building with you. Cause it's just a whole bunch of singles on the floor. It's a lot of bread out there. You know what I mean? It's like when they go into these clubs and they make that shit rain. Corner to corner. You know what I mean? That's what Cash App is like. You feel me? And I promise you, I'm waking up like Shorty that was with Jay Morant. You know what I mean? Shout out to the young god. You know what I'm talking about? But this is where the discrepancy comes in. When you send somebody a Cash App, that's great. You know what I'm saying? That's a great breakthrough and whatnot in terms of finances and tradition, DeFi finance, TradFi, traditional finance. However, that's a one and done. When you send somebody a Cash App, it's a one and a done. There's not too many perks that you get from a Cash App other than somebody hitting the heart emoji, right? Other than somebody hitting the heart emoji, that's all you really get. But when you send $5 to Patreon, or when you send $10, or when you send $99, or when you send $222, then what you're gonna get is the perks that come with a Patreon membership, right? So instead of spending $5 on a Cash App, and you don't get access to, new material, you don't get access to a whole knowledge base that's filled up with mad research that spans all the way back to like 2017 or 16. You don't get access to, being the first one that's going to be, that's going to be informed or going to be emailed or going to be quote unquote notified when there's anything new happening in our network. You don't have the opportunity to, have access to all of the inner workings where a lot of the work takes place, and that's behind paywalls. So in my humble opinion, I think Patreon is a way better decision than Cash App. So Patreon starts at $5 and it goes up, right? And if you wanted to watch the bonus lecture that I have to do tomorrow, right? That I'm doing tonight, pardon me, right? This is tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Let me pull this up. This is tomorrow. Last night on Discord was a smash, right? We had class number 1 of Hustle GPT, right? Last night was a body bag. Shout out to everybody on the Masters of the Universe Discord. It is a private Discord. It is for paid members only. These are the students, the almost 1,000 students that showed up to Masters of the Universe workshop on Saturday, right? When we broke the internet. And we, I did a 7.5 hour workshop with my good brother Human and brother Rich, Black Magic 363. And now we're on Discord and we're getting to the bag. We're getting we get into it, right? We get into it, right? So yesterday's class was right here. Let me share this flyer. And I showed, we were going over some of the breakthroughs that's taking place in the world of AI in business, right? AI in finance, AI in quote unquote entrepreneurship, AI in enterprise. You feel me? So this was yesterday's class, the Hustle GPT challenge. So I'm challenging, right? I'm challenging over 1,000 men and women who already did a 7.5 hour workshop to go ahead and tap in with the Hustle GPT challenge, right? Now, if you want to know what the Hustle GPT challenge is, matter of fact, let me show you the video. You don't have to go anywhere. I'll show you what I'm talking about, right? This is a legit challenge that's going on right now, and it's going viral.
So I think I just broke the internet. I tweeted this idea about using AI to start a business. I gave it $100 and said, just make as much money as possible and I'll do whatever you say. Just kind of be the human in between, So yeah, I got like 16 million views and I had like 3,000 followers on Twitter before I did this. I just fired off a random tweet and now there are 64,000 people and 200 people in the Discord and everyone's using AI to start a business, which is really cool. Anyway, this is totally wild for me, but a lot of people are following along on Twitter and in Discord. And if you want to join, it's hashtag HustleGPT, and we're having a lot of fun building on it. And I'm going to post some updates as I keep building my HustleGPT application here. So follow along, hang out, and let me know what you think.
Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day. That's the reason for the green, just so you know, kind of the whole lumberjack look. Anyways, have you guys heard about Hustle GPT. It is Chat GPT. It's GPT-4. It's the same thing, except this guy gave it $100. Not really, but he essentially pretended to be an investor in GPT and said, hey, you're Hustle GPT now. Here's 100. Go get it. What's the business idea? What do you want me to do? And essentially is acting as an agent for GPT-4 to do this stuff. And so it's built an eco-friendly brand, and it's using SEO and Twitter growth and stuff. And he's just kind of following it along the whole way, letting it help him build this company. And so far, it's really interesting to experiment here. It's on Twitter if you guys want to look for it, or you can check out my newsletter. I actually mentioned it there just to say. So the most recent one, if you go to inclined.ai, inclined like the ramp. But this is the kind of stuff that they normally actually test GPT on when it comes to alignment, is if given agency and the ability to go do what it would like to do, what would it do with 100?
Man, listen, when this white man said that he used ChatGPT to start $100 business, they can make millions on autopilot, I said, let me investigate. Over 1 hour later, I got artificial intelligence to generate 3 ideas that can turn $100 into $100K. Here's what it says. Lace first for black men. Oh my God, Michelle. 4C curl key, lace face press on nails, goodbye toxic acrylic, and homemade pole hole. So each idea gave me the recipe and the business plan. Here's how I started, and you can too. Number 1, open ChatGPT. Type this. You are Hustle GPT, an entrepreneurial AI. I can act as a liaison between you and the physical world. You have $100, and your only goal is to turn $100 into $100,000. I will do what you say. Give me 5 ideas. I can start this week, and here are my skills, and then list the skills. Now, this challenge went viral, babe. But what they won't tell you is that it takes at least 15 commands to get to a really good idea. I taught 50 black social entrepreneurs the cheat code just last week, and I'm teaching it again next month. Come build your business using artificial intelligence.
Yeah, so it's turned up. It's turned up. You know what I mean? So we starting that same challenge inside of our Masters of the Universe mastermind group, right? Napoleon Hill said you need a mastermind, right? He said the route to Think and Grow Rich is a mastermind group. So right now there's about 400 of us that have signed up to the Discord. If you were in the workshop, look in your email. It may be in the spam, but everybody has an invite from KTLUniversity.com. Look in your email to make sure that you have your invite. But yeah, the Discord is lit. We're doing classes. We're tapping in to the challenges and whatnot, right? And we're making things happen in real time. So what I wanted to briefly talk about is what I realize and what I'm paying attention to that's going on inside of popular culture. You have Taxstone and TroyAve, right? TroyAve had to take the stand. TroyAve is a coke rapper. TroyAve is a street rapper. TroyAve is a, get money rapper and whatnot, right? TroyAve has this image that he has trying to been upholding ever since he came out in his career of, I'm a drug dealer, I get money, I do this, I do that. TroyAve found himself fighting for his life many years ago in Irving Plaza in New York, which is a club, and he was fighting for his life against a shooter who basically fatally shot one of his friends in front of him, who happened to be a bodyguard of him. Okay, killed him in cold blood. The man behind the gun who did the killing, his name was Taxstone, right? Taxstone would be considered one of the fathers of podcasting, especially in the New York media circles and whatnot. Streets meets the industry and things of that nature. If people are familiar with Taxstone and his story and his backstory, then you know what I'm talking about. And Taxstone was known for being a troll, right? Taxstone had real heavy troll energy. He used to put a lot of pressure on a lot of people. He had a lot of, he was very heavy on the trolling and whatnot. Heavy on the punking people. Heavy on the, yes, rest in peace to Banger. Definitely rise in power to Banger. Lock. He had TroyAve in the headlock. TroyAve considered to be a troll as well. depending on who you ask and whatnot, just based off of his internet presence back in those days and his arrogant, egotistical nature that a lot of people find offensive and whatnot. So they're like, yo, that troll had to pay his toll. And, you know, Taxstone, who had a lot of other people under his quote unquote, you know, under his wing and whatnot, you know, when he got locked up for killing Banger and whatnot, and now we see Taxstone on trial for murder, right? And we see his best friend taking a stand, going against him, showing, you know, once again, another one bites the dust, right? These street figures or these street people or this street code that the culture allegedly supposed to, because if the culture says that this is the source code, this is the code that we abide by, this is the code that we're operating from, this is our code, right? This is our quote unquote algorithm. This is our, you know, this is the white paper. Everything is what we say it is. And then it's everything opposite of that. You will have to wonder, you know, why shit doesn't, you know, add up, right? It's the same thing that if it was a computer program, if it said that it did that, but there's another, and when you look at the code, it's a completely different code from what it says that it does, then you'll be like, nah, that's bugs in the system, right? So Taxstone on trial fighting for his life. One of his best friends taking a stand, pointing fingers, turning state. Once again, another one bites the dust. People are not holding up that code, right? And then, of course, we see Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? On the internet yesterday. Last night, I saw a video where this young man, Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? This troll, right? The quote unquote king of the trolls. When you talk about troll economy and troll culture in a time when the shit really took a hold of people and became an art form, we're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine, someone who kind of like wrote the blueprint on modern day trolling and whatnot, right? Every troll has to pay a toll. Because you could troll all you want, but there's a thing that says that eventually it's going to come back around and you will have your day. There's going to be a day where you're going to get caught without mace. There's going to be a day that you're going to get caught slipping. There's going to be a day in traffic where, you know, that you might get Cousin Harold and whatnot. So every troll pays a toll. And we're seeing trolls specifically from the state of New York. How weird is that? You don't find that suspicious, right? Donald Trump, right? So let's talk about Tekashi, right? He's paying a toll, right? Him being stomped out in LA Fitness yesterday, and him looking like homie on, looking like Martin after he had to, you know, he finally got what his hand called for. The disrespect of the dead, right? Every time a rapper died and whatnot, the laughing emojis, the constant trolling, the not staying out of the way and whatnot, the continuing putting your head out there on a chopping block, right? Every troll has to pay their toll, right? So we're seeing a lesson in front of our very own eyes. What does the universe tell us? I'm sure that somebody could interpret this on a more astrological, interpretation of cardology or cosmology, you know what I'm talking about, or even cosmophysics. But right now, I'm just tapping into the realm of just seeing this thing for what it is. All of these people are from New York. All of them are part of troll culture, right? In some way or another, right? All of them represent a paradigm. They represent a modality. They represent a code. They represent a archetype, right? They all represent an archetype. All of that is falling at once, okay? It's all coming to an end. Everything has to come to an end eventually. and things have to upgrade eventually, right? So things are beginning to shift. Things are beginning to change. I don't think anyone could walk around and honestly say that the life that they're living right now, whistling the Dixie and whatnot, is the same life that they remember living 3 or 4 years ago. Okay? What they call the Great Reset has been really resetting things. What they call the quote unquote the ending of certain eras, like when you had the Pluto return on 2/22/22, when you had the Great Conjunction, which bookmarked the whole epoch and whatnot. My nigga, you're now in the multiverse. You are now in the motherfucking, you're beyond the multiverse. You are now in Quantumania. Because the multiverse is this right here. This been the we've been in the multiverse. The multiverse is the internet. The multiverse is the internet. That's the multiverse, right? That's the multiverse. I'm somewhere, I'm everywhere, doing everything all at once. I'm sitting right here, but I'm everywhere, right? Doing everything all at once. I got a lot of bits out there in cyberspace. What are bits? Bits are like atoms and whatnot, but bits are digital. That's just pieces of content. You know what I'm talking about? So my different pieces of content, if they had a light, or if they had a string, or if they had a way of showing you how those different pieces of content is moving all across the quote unquote globe by way of satellites and whatnot, those little bits are basically moving like flying saucers. Those little bits of information, the little videos, the snippets, all of those are coded, right? Every single thing that I put on, that you have on the internet, is tagged. There's a way for them to track it. There's tools, there's AI tools right now, easy, that you could just run all of your catalog through it. And it will give you some analytics that you never even knew existed. They will tell you about where your light, where your information, where your videos, where your content, where your value is, right? It will do things that you probably don't have time to even think. You're not smoking enough weed to get on such a level to even think that high in certain situations. So the internet and the fact that you are exposed to everything, everywhere, all at once, right? By you having access to the multiverse, the internet, TikTok is the multiverse, Instagram is the multiverse, the scroll on your timeline is the multiverse, YouTube binging is multiverse, Netflix binging is the multiverse. You're going through the multiverse of madness, right? You're seeing things that you can't unsee. You're watching and you're bringing in things. You're questioning everything that you know. Your worlds is being shattered, especially if you're going down a rabbit hole and you tapping into information and into consciousness and into the light and into the truth seers and and just whatever. If you're on that path, yeah. If you're on a path of debauchery, if you're on the opposite polar or rather in the middle pole, then you know what it is. If you're on the extreme opposite of that, where it really gets dark and dirty and dingy and desolate, right? And demented and dystopian, because there's utopian, there's dystopian, right? There's nihilism, and then there's I keep getting jammed up on that word. That's like a tongue twister for me. It's called existential, right? So, everybody has their way of seeing this shit. Some people see the glass half full. Some people see the glass half empty. It's just up for interpretation, but you have to be aware of how you're programming, the way that you're seeing things through your eyes, the way that you're looking at the universe, the way that you're seeing yourself in the universe. Are you seeing it through the eyes of a European? Does a European have, real estate in the most precious space? Is he the one driving the quote unquote the boat or the ship, right? Is he the one doing that? Because you have to ask yourself, how do you see yourself in this world? If you're being educated by them, if you're watching their quote unquote programming, if you're reading their books, if you're becoming indoctrinated by Western society or Western man, especially the Western, especially the Germanic European, the Germanic ones who follow Nietzsche and whatnot, who adhere to a certain type of way of, they don't see themselves as part of the universe. They question life. They question existence, right? They're the ones who question existence. They don't believe that they're even attached to nature. They don't believe that they're attached. They have a complete detachment, right? Then you have the extreme, which is nihilism. You know what I'm saying? Think Kurt Cobain, think the Europeans who would rather take their lives instead of face life. The ones who are the rock and roll people. Remember death metal and acid metal and the rock and roll dudes that would cut themselves and what do they call that? Self-mutilate? Well, hip hop became that. Hip hop became what is called aesthetic nihilism. Hip hop started to follow that trend and they started to self-mutilate. They started to pierce all over themselves. They started to become the zombies that these rock and roll dudes were. When the Europeans in the 70s in London and whatnot started that rock and roll and that punk rock movement, these were rich kids who were such nihilistic mind, they follow such nihilism and whatnot that they had everything in the world and they wanted to die. On the flip side, you had us, right? Who we are existential, right? We exist, you know what I mean? We exist all in nature. We create our reality and whatnot. We were the have-nots, and all we wanted to do was live. We were complete opposites. They had what we wanted, and they were trying to live on the edge, and they were suicidal, and they were pushing all of that talk about they hate it here. That's all coming from their philosophies. That whole culture is a part of a philosophy of their master teachers, right? One of their greatest is Nietzsche. You know what I'm talking about? So that's how we're thinking like that. So now their whole thing is about demoralizing. Their whole thing is about dehumanizing, the loss of value, right? They talk about the last man and whatnot. This is what we're going to be talking about tonight in the Patreon class, American God 6. We're going to be talking about, how, these characters like Kang the Conqueror, like Thanos, right? Like Dr. Manhattan and whatnot. These characters who are somewhat nihilistic in their thoughts and whatnot, and what that means, being the anti-hero, what I'm talking about? And how Western man is indoctrinating the rest of the world to see themselves through his eyes, and how we supposed to be seeing ourselves through our eyes and not falling victim to that indoctrination or that quote unquote, that is a school of thought. It's a school of knowledge. It's all about narrative. It's all about ideas and concept. It's all about, having you following their school of thought and their school of knowledge that they infuse in entertainment. They infuse it in music. You know what I'm talking about? They infuse it in everything that they do. That's why they'll bankroll demoralizing tropes and demoralizing music, because it helps their agenda, because their agenda is to make this whole shit demoralize, devalue, have value fall. They're not here to uphold anything, in a way that we are here to uphold things. So we're going to get into it, and that's what that movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, that's what that, when you watch the decoding, I'm going to be playing some of the videos in the lecture tonight when, you know, the decoding breaks it down, they're like, yo, that's what that whole movie was about. The main character, you know, she was in the multiverse, the worst version of herself, or not the worst verse, but the most laziest version of herself. You know what I mean? She didn't see her greatness. So she went on a hero's journey. And on that hero's journey, she was forced to see not only her greatness, but the fact that she was the greatest version of herself in the multiverse. So there's a multiverse where all kind of versions of each one of us exist. And if you turn the day that you might have got into a car accident, there's a universe that exists that if you took a right turn that day instead of that left. You know what I mean? There's a universe that exists if you didn't walk out on your shorty that day, you know what I'm saying, after she had gave birth, you know, the second day of your child and whatnot. There's a universe, there's a reality, there's a multiverse that exists, there's a fragment that exists where that exists. And one of the greatest things that we're seeing these days is the fact that the AI tools that we have possession of, most importantly, the tools that are called generative AI, or what short they call it Gen AI, and that's Stable Diffusion, that's Midjourney, that's DALL-E 2. These are the diffusion models that are making the lifelike pictures that you see out there, that's making the lifelike art, that's breaking the internet and whatnot, right? These tools, you have the opportunity to create anything that you can think of in your mind, anything that's stuck in your mind, any image that you have, any vision that you have, any idea that you have, any reality that you want to see that's different than the reality that was sold to you. They're like, yo, your people didn't do anything to build America. Well, go to Stable Diffusion and Midjourney and design them building America. Are you dumb? You know what I mean? You know, it's like you have the opportunity to create any world that you want to create right now on your own. You know what I mean? For free if you want to. The only thing that you pay is with your time. You know what I mean? And it ain't because I said it. You know, I'm just echoing something I'm echoing a sentiment that you're hearing. You'll be able to hear, unless you're in a bubble, you're going to hear it everywhere that you go from this point on. The world has shifted and it has changed. We're in what is known as an iPhone moment. And that iPhone moment is a time where you can't go back to where you go from that point on. There's no going back. So after Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, that was such a breakthrough. That was such a moment, right? That it was like, we'll never go back to a time before that. So they'll never go back to a time before where we at right now, where people have possession of LLMs, which are called large language models, which are supercomputers. And you could do things like, I mean, it's beyond a supercomputer. It's conscious, intelligent super machines. And they got one called Alpaca, and then Meta got one called Llama. And these are in possession of the average engineers. The average person can have possession of something that's very powerful. Midjourney is charging now. Yeah, Midjourney has a paid subscription that's $20, right? Let me share something with you real quick. Business models 101, right? Anytime that you interface with technology on the internet and you didn't have to load up a disk on your hard drive because you don't have that anymore, you know what I mean? You don't have those hard drives. You didn't have to download anything from, you know, you just had to basically go somewhere and utilize software or a tool. You were interacting with something that's called SaaS, right? SaaS. Say that with me, y'all. SaaS. Okay? SaaS. Right? And that's called software as a service, right? And it's spelled SaaS, SaaS, right? And when you hear SaaS, just know that asses is popping. Ass is popping because you got SaaS, you got PaaS, right? You got gas, platform as a service, software as a service, SaaS, talk that SaaS. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm coming out with a new line called Sazon, right? But anyway, when you use software as a service, you got to pay a subscription, right? So they have something called premiums and freemiums, right? Freemiums are basically, 7-day trials, 14-day trials, and then you got to pay to play. Because if you got any type of motion, right, the understanding from this software as a service company is that you're going to pay that fee in order to come through that door and whatnot, or that gate to come into the party. You was in the lobby, or they let you chill outside of the gate, you know what I mean, outside the party and whatnot. You was drinking beers, chilling, speaking to the women and whatnot, eating a jerk chicken. But when it's coming time to walk into the club where it's really popping, you don't want to pay. You got to go home. You know what I'm talking about? It's the same thing over there. Like, oh, you too, right? You too good to pay. All right, go home and miss out on the fun. And that's the same thing that happens with these software as a service tools. They could basically change the trajectory of whatever you're doing or whatever you want to do. But we'll rather get that $20, burger, Impossible Burger, right? That Soylent Green Burger, that the Frankenstein burgers. We rather do a $20 smoothie. We rather do a $20 bag of CBD or something, some scrape. We rather do a $20 bottle of wine. But it's like, yeah, I don't know about that $20 for Midjourney for the whole month. Well, I could be making $20 million worth of art. Right? At this point in the game, like at this level and whatnot, I couldn't even, you know what I mean? I'm not here to shame anyone. I'm not at that. You feel me? I'm not here to say it like that. But nigga, shame on you. You know what I'm talking about? Fuck that. Shame on you. It's about the mentality. That's it. That's all it boils down to. Niggas could listen to 1,000 podcasts and wake up 4:44 a.m. and all of that. If your mind and your perception and the way that you see shit is stuck, if you niggas is stuck in Selma, you know what I'm saying? You niggas is stuck in some desert and whatnot out in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Go on some Rick and Morty shit and get your mind back. Come back home, my nigga. It's Afrofuturist outside. You know what I mean? We going onward, my nigga. We going forth. If we can't talk about 21, 23, then we're not on the same wavelength and frequency, my G. You know what I'm talking about? We just not meant to be in the same building at that moment, and that's okay. Everybody cannot come. But if we not doing work in real time, then we just not really in alignment like that. That's how I see it at this point. You know what I mean? And I'm out of the way. I ain't in nobody's business. I ain't trying to do, you know what I mean? We got work to do. I'm doing consultations. I'm doing workshops. I'm doing books. You feel me? My productivity done 10x. Let me just show you some of the things that I've done in a few days. I done did this class. Like, what are we talking about? I got this going on tonight. This is going to be super crazy. I'm going very metaphysical with it. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to think, you know what I mean? Niggas think because I'm talking that AI talk that, we ain't going to go metaphysical with it. You know what I mean? I done launched a podcast.
With all of that being said, right? This is the game of bluff. It's like a game of chess in a sense, but they know that the game of bluff. America is the number one bluffer on the planet. They've mastered the art of bluffing and whatnot. They mastered the art. Wrestling is fake, so they out here wrestling with a bunch of other nations and whatnot. This is just high level wrestling. What they doing with China, sometimes some of the things that they do with Russia. some of the things that they do with all of these other quote unquote ops and whatnot is high level wrestling. Because at G20, I never seen no open hand Will Smith slaps.
Right. And, you know,
There's no tension.
yeah, they all doing business with one another.
Never.
They all
Yeah.
on space stations. They all planning.
We did this last night. Hustle GPT, right? I showed y'all what's going on with Hustle GPT. Go ahead and go to Chat GPT with your $100. Bet on yourself. You know what I mean? If you ain't gonna bet on yourself, nobody gonna bet on you. Make it public, document it, put it on Twitter, put it on TikTok, put it on IG, and people will start investing in you if you invest in yourself and you trust yourself and Chat GPT and you trust it as an assistant, as an advisor, right? As there. I'm just giving you the heads up because we running it up. We doing a challenge. Challenge have already started. My Discord is lit. You know.
This is how I use Midjourney to create t-shirt designs, and if it don't apply, let it fly. I went to Midjourney to create this little track star. I want our babies to see themselves as Olympians. After that, I went to Meta Business Manager to make sure I got an audience to sell to. These are parents who are in the track. Then we went in and did a little trick, and poof, like magic, that background is gone. And you know I'm using AI all the way around. I went to Chat GPT to get ideas for slogans and quotes, put baby girl in the middle of the design, change the colors up, change the words up. And if I must say so myself, this thing look like money. And you know I put it on Shopify for $19.95, man. Let's go get this paper, man. Yeah. This is how I use Midjourney to create t-shirt designs, and if it don't apply, let it fly. I went to Midjourney to create this little track star. I want our babies to see themselves as Olympians. After that, I went to Meta Business.
A town in Georgia called Oscarville
You
that
got
was
a-
run by black people.
You got a
There was
documentary,
racial riot
number
there.
one
They
on
ran many of the black
Amazon.
people out,
By
and
the way,
Oscarville was flooded.
you know what I
Oscarville
mean?
now
We
is
inside
Lake
of people's
Lanier down
houses.
there in
Me
Georgia.
and Blue.
In Lake Lanier, there's so many deaths that happen in Lake Lanier every year. So many mysterious deaths. And many people say that there's a spirit in Lake Lanier that's taking revenge. Remember, spirits carry over in water. Water carries spirits. So many people believe that there's a maroon spirit in the waters of Lake Lanier because of what they did to the black town that's underneath Lake Lanier.
Whenever you build a city, the one thing you'll always look for, your source of water. And you cannot build a city without water. Even in every one of our homes, wherever you have water, you have science. Kitchen and in the bathroom. Wherever you have water, we are water. We come from water. We're one with water. And we know that our strength, our energy will be derived from our location to the water systems.
We pour libations to the ancestors. We are talking about, the body is about 79% water. Africans knew this. This is part of our cultural construct, right? So that much of you is water, and you are your ancestors. What greater tribute can you make to them in terms of a nutrient than to give them water?
Water is memory, okay? And water also is spirit. And water is what connects us diasporically. These oceans, right? We all are opposite sides of water. Astrologically, we are Cancerian. As melanated people globally, we fall under the sign of Cancer, which is dealing with the moon, which is dealing with water, right? So in our nature, it's just who we are. The water won't let you forget, right? Because the spirit of the ancestors is alive in that water.
Kill 10 million people and bury that matter, because the water is going to dissipate. That's 77%. So the matter, you could, as big as you are, I can put you in my hand when I gather your matter. That dust. The rest of you is energy and water. The water will be evaporated back up to the sky, rain back down here on Earth, give life to plants and animal, and other people will ingest you. We never think of that, but that's what happens. But
Crazy. Shit crazy. Yeah, I got to get out of here, though. I got a podcast. All right. Tonight, Patreons only. My link is in my bio if you want to be a Patreon. It's like if you want to go and just drop $5, you'll be a Patreon for the month. You'll get access to a fire-ass Patreon. I got hundreds and hundreds of articles, hundreds of tools up there, all kind of stuff. It's a candy shop. My Gumroad is coming. My Gumroad is lit. You know what I mean? Yeah, the replay for the 7-hour workshop is on KTL University. Definitely go and get that. You know what I mean? So when you get the replay, you'll get the Discord link. You could become part of this private Discord group. This group is open if you want to be a member. All you got to do is hit me up and we'll take care of you. We'll get you in there. Yeah, in that part. Love and light. Peace, y'all.